Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today it is time for an all-new round of speed reviews. Now, I tried a lot of new makeup in February. I feel like there was a mass influx of products that I started trying in the very last week of February, so those products are not going to be in this ranking. I'm going to roll them into March so that I have a little bit more time with them, but I do want to rank all of the products that I have been testing and trying out very thoroughly throughout the month. I do have 15 products to talk about, but let's hop right into it. Coming in at number 15 is a product I actually got in my Beautylish Lucky Bag, and this is from Mob Beauty. This is the Sparkle Balm. So when I first unboxed this product, I was kind of underwhelmed by it. I've heard a lot of people talk about Mob Beauty, so this is a brand I wanted to try out anyway, so I was excited to see this, but then I saw the type of product it is. It describes itself as a sparkle balm that can be used on the eyes or on the face, and it does have a balmy consistency, and it does have a lot of sparkle to it. This isn't something I would want to use on the face. I don't typically like more balmy products on the face in general, so I knew that. But a lot of you were telling me to try it as a single eyeshadow because it gives a really beautiful sparkle without any of the fallout. And I can see how that would be a possibility, but on my eyes, it just did not work for me. I just found for me, and this very well could be because I have hooded eyes, that it instantly just sort of made everything stick together, and then it creased like crazy, and it just was not flattering on me. It really didn't work. I tried it on top of some other matte shadows. I tried it on its own, and I just really didn't love this in that way either. I just don't think this type of product is for me. I really wanted to love it, but unfortunately, it's just not for me. Coming in at number 14 is another product that I really just don't think is for me, but that I can get some use out of at a different time of year. This is from Makeup Forever, and this is their skin tint. Now, this had a lot of discussion surrounding the very strange sort of packaging. It is a squeeze tube, but it does have this little pump here that you use to push out the product. I have the shade 1, and I do think the shade works very well for me. This is, like it describes, a skin tint, so it is supposed to give a lighter coverage. What I didn't like was that this described itself as having a buildable light medium coverage, and I don't think in any dimension could I get a medium coverage from this. I tried using so many different methods of application over the last month to try to make this work in a way that I liked. I noticed a sponge is definitely a no-go. It just sort of soaks up all the product. A loosely packed brush really didn't work out that great either. A more dense brush was definitely the way to go, and I found that using my fingers was the best method of application. And if you are familiar with my channel, you know I cannot stand applying foundation with my fingers. So that was a big con for me, but I was okay because I was able to apply it with a denser brush. However, it does still give you just a very light coverage. I also found it really didn't wear that well throughout the day. This also stayed quite glowy, which is fine if that's what you're expecting. I was really sort of clinging to that light to medium buildable claim, and it just didn't do that for me. But I found that this did do a really, really nice job evening out my skin tone. So I did appreciate that. And for that reason, I think this is a product that I might really enjoy over the summer. I mean, during the summer, we spend a lot of time on the water. So I think that something like this might be perfect when I do want to even out my skin, but I don't want a full face of makeup. And I think something like this will be absolutely perfect. But just for my day-to-day makeup routine, this really doesn't have a place there. And it really didn't do as much as I hoped it would. So I just really didn't love this Makeup Forever. Coming in at number 13 is from Sigma. Now, I have a lot of products from Sigma that I really, really like. I even have something that is ranking quite high, but this is their Tint and Tame Brow Gel. So they actually sent this to me in a really generous PR package, and I have loved pretty much every single thing that was in that package, and I don't think this is a bad product whatsoever. It's just that my brows are very picky and very finicky. So while this is nice, I like the packaging, I like the size of this wand. It's just chunky enough, but it's still small enough that it's not going to make a mess. So I love all of that. The problem is that this just is not strong enough to hold up my brow hairs. I absolutely live and swear by the Rare Beauty Brow Gel. I just emptied, I think, my second tube of that one. That is the only one that has enough hold to hold my brows without laminating them and gluing them in place and doing that weird thing where the product kind of balls up and makes it look like you have dandruff in your brows. The Rare Beauty Brow Gel is exactly what I am looking for in a brow gel. This is a very liquidy product and I just don't feel like it does anything to hold up my brows. But again, my brow hairs are very stubborn, so I have a very specific criteria of what I like. So unfortunately, this just really doesn't work well for me. Coming in at number 12 is from Colourpop, and this is the Twilight New Moon palette. I know, they got me again. I said so many times in my year-end palette ranking last year that I really wasn't buying as much from Colourpop just because I feel like they always put these pressed glitters in their palettes, and I was even roasting myself for purchasing the Twilight collab palette, and then I did it again. I don't know. You know what? Nostalgia just got me. Now at this point, I think I just want the collection because I am a Twilight fan. I definitely was back in the day. I still watch the movies from time to time, so you know what? I think I'm going to settle on, I'm probably just going to purchase all of the palettes in this little collaboration. So first of all, I am really, really happy that my prediction was right, that they would have a different palette for each movie in the series. I'm wondering if Eclipse is going to come out next January. That would be my guess because Twilight came out January 2024, New Moon was January 2025, so I would assume the next one will be in a similar time frame. Now this is the New Moon packaging. I think it's gorgeous. It does have that soft touch texture that I love. And then opening it up, you do get the sort of movie promo, and then you get the color story. Now, much like the original Twilight palette that they came out with last year, I think they did such an excellent job encompassing the color scheme of the movies. So the first Twilight palette was definitely very blue and green and gray and just sort of grungy overall. And that was such a perfect encapsulation of the first Twilight movie. But I remember when that palette came out, a lot of people were saying, why are there no reds or ambers to reflect the vampire's eyes? And we have those in here because this is the palette that really dives deeper into that. So I think this is the perfect color story, and I think it's the perfect follow-up to the first one. Much like the first palette though, I do think that this color story is so much more fall appropriate. I said that about the first palette and I'm saying it again. This is a very, very fall color story. I like this color story. I think it's pretty. I think the shades are all very beautiful, but I do think it would have been, you know, a lot more exciting to reach for come fall. And I can see myself pulling this out in the fall and playing with it a lot more. There is a pressed glitter in here, the shade Adrenaline. I was actually wearing this in a video not too long ago. I do think it's pretty, but again, I really don't like their glitters. I just thought that shade was kind of fun. I'm not necessarily going to reach for this red at all, but I do love these ambers up here. I do love these other sort of browns down here. And I do think this is a color story that I really like and I will definitely reach for. And again, I'm very excited to whip this out in the fall. I do think they're doing an excellent job with this series, so I am excited to see what's next. Coming in at number 11 is from Maybelline, and this is their Superstay 30-Hour Lumi Matte Foundation. Now, I was actually really torn as to where to put this because, first of all, I like the packaging. I like how matte this is. I like the amount of coverage you get from this. I did try this on in a recent Get Ready With Me, and I really, really liked the coverage and the finish on the skin. This does dry down super fast, so you do want to work quick. You want to sort of do one side of your face and then move to the other side. I also think that if you have dry skin, you're really going to want to make sure you prep your skin and make sure your skin is hydrated appropriately because this is going to be dry. I really like this, of course, because of the price point. I like that it's matte. I like that it really is very long wearing. I like that I don't have to powder my skin when I wear this. What I cannot stand though is the scent. It has this very, very strong paint thinner scent. Maybelline also has this scent in their skin tint as well, and I can't handle it, and it's just so strong. So that is kind of why I knocked it down. It is also really hard to find a shade match with this. I have the shade 102. I originally picked up 112 and it was just way too deep, but overall I really like this. I do think this is definitely going to be more of a full glam foundation. It's definitely going to wear very well and very long, and I do love how it dries down and I love the coverage. It's just that the fragrance when I put it on is just way too strong, and it's not a fragrance in a good way. It's just really unpleasant. Coming in at number 10 is from Dior, and this is their Forever Nude Bronze. So I believe this is their new bronzer line that is replacing the bronzers that were in the more white packaging. So I love the packaging on this. I love this sort of plush leather. I believe there's also 4 shades of this bronzer, but each shade is available in a matte or a radiant. I did pick up the matte. I picked up the lightest shade. This is Too Light Matte. This also has a fragrance. This is a very floral fragrance. So if you are sensitive to that, I would stay away. I do love the embossment in the bronzer as well. This is definitely a much more sheer leaning bronzer. I feel like you really need to work to build this up, and I don't necessarily mind when a bronzer is a little bit more sheer to buildable because I am so fair, so it takes nothing for me to turn orange really quickly, especially with a shade like this, because this is very warm leaning. I don't prefer that. I prefer bronzers that are either very neutral or have more of a reddish undertone because I just find them more flattering on my particular skin tone. So this was just a little bit too warm for me, and the fragrance is pretty strong. So I did put this at number 10. I don't dislike this product, but there are definitely things that I would have changed. Coming in at number 9 is from Natasha Denona, and this is her High Blush Cloudy Cream Cheek Duos. Now I have 2. I have Fresh Mauve and Simply Shy. So each of these duos has a cream blush and a highlighter. The highlighter is more of a powder. I do absolutely love the packaging on these, and I think she came out with maybe 6 duos, but I do like the cream blush. The highlight in Fresh Mauve is too deep to be a highlighter on me. It's definitely more of a blush topper. Simply Shy is definitely more me. This is a really pretty sort of peachy pink blush, and then the highlighter is very, very beautiful, and it definitely works well for me. Now when I first tried these on, I didn't notice it in my initial try on, but when I was editing that video back, I felt like the blushes were looking a little bit patchy and a little less seamless than some of the other blushes I've tried. And I actually got that comment from some of you as well. So I have been testing that to see if it was me, and I think it depends on the foundation that's underneath, because sometimes they do look a little patchy, sometimes they look great though. So I think the foundation underneath is what determines how these look. I tried these with the new Givenchy foundation and I loved it. I think the first time I put them on though, I believe I was wearing the Fenty foundation stick. So I find that if you're pairing this with a more hydrating, glowy foundation, they look great and seamless, but if you're wearing something with a little more coverage, maybe not necessarily. I really do like these. Again, I think they're great for every day. I think they're really pretty. I don't think these are something though that you really need to purchase multiple shades of, especially because the highlighters are going to be very specific to your skin tone. I would say if you're interested in these, just pick the one that is going to match your skin tone the best and you're good to go. I think they're really pretty. I just don't think that they require you to buy multiple. Coming in at number 8 is from L'Oreal, and this is the Lash Paradise Big Deal Mascara. So I believe I tried this on in the same video where I was trying on the Maybelline foundation, and this one is interesting. This has a really interesting wand on it. I think it is a really, really nice mascara. The wand is definitely a rubber bristle wand. It's also much more flexible than the original. Now, I don't always love rubber bristle wand mascaras because I find that if you accidentally get them too close to your eye, it's going to poke and it's going to hurt. So I don't like that. I do think this does a really, really nice job giving a lot of length to the lashes. I think it's a really solid mascara. The only thing with this is I don't find that it gives you much volume. And that is something that I prefer in mascara. I like mascaras that are going to give me a lot of volume and thickness, but I also want a lot of length. And I know that's asking a lot, but for me, this is better for length and separation. Coming in at number 7 is a product I don't know if I've even mentioned yet, but this is the Laneige Glaze Craze Tinted Lip Serum. This is in the shade Cinnamon Sugar. And first of all, this packaging is really, really cute. So this is what the applicator looks like. It really is just a clear sort of sponge tip, but because it's not very precise and it's not a hard plastic, this can get really messy. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Otherwise, when you put this on the lips, it is very hydrating. It does have a ton of pigment to it. It is super glossy and super shiny. I don't know if I would purchase more shades just because I find the applicator strange, but I do like the product in general. I just think it looks really, really pretty and juicy on the lips, and I love how pigmented these are. Coming in at number 6 is from Maybelline, and this is their Super Fluff Brow Mousse. This is great. This is in the shade Soft Brown, so I've been really leaning into more auburn brow pencils of late, but this is the one that I thought would work best for me. So I do feel like the applicator on this one is almost a little bit larger than I would prefer, but it definitely does work for my brows. And this is one of those brow gels that is going to hold your brows in place and lock them down, shape your brows, but also add volume and make it look like you have a lot more brow hairs. So this will fill them in and also set them in place. So it's one of those perfect one and done products, and I actually really, really do like this, and it's not nearly as messy as the ABH Tinted Volumizing Brow Gel. I feel like this is what that should have been. I have one of those in the shade Auburn, and I love the color so much, but if I could just put that product in this component, I would be a happy girl. But that product is just so beyond messy, and this isn't. This does all of the things, and it's not messy. It's perfect. Coming in at number 5 is from Rare Beauty, and this is their Liquid Contour. I had the shade Gentle. This is the lightest one, and this is really nice as well. This is in the same packaging as their blushes, and it does have this really large kind of doe foot here as well. The shade Gentle is definitely much more cool tone. I feel like it does have a slight reddish undertone, so I can sort of get away with this as more of a bronzer product, and I love that. I absolutely love how easy this is to blend out on the skin. I think it's just so incredibly easy to work with. I don't typically reach for a lot of liquid blushes and bronzers and contours, but sometimes I think they're nice and I think they're very, very quick, and this is the perfect product for that. And I just loved how easy this was to use. I love how easy it was to put a powder on top of this, or if I accidentally put this over a powdered area, it still blended out and worked beautifully. I love the tone. I love the pigment level. It's just right. It's not too intensely pigmented, but it's not going to blend away the second you blend it out on the skin. It's just going to sort of melt right into the skin. It is the perfect liquid contour. I think it's stunning. Coming in at number 4 is another product I tried from Sigma. This product has been around for quite a while, but this is their Spectrum Color Correcting Duo. This is in light medium. So this can be used to color correct. This can also be used in place of concealer. This is absolutely 100% fantastic. It's so good. This shade is such a great concealer shade for me. This shade can be used for spot concealing, and it works well for that. Also, I just absolutely love this little duo. It's so perfect. I've heard people talk about it, but I really didn't understand what I was missing until I finally tried this out. I just love how it gives just the right amount of coverage. It sort of melts right into the skin, so it doesn't look like there's any product just sitting on your skin. I don't need to set this with powder if I don't want to. And while it does give a softer radiance, especially to my under eyes, it doesn't make them glowy. It just gives a soft, healthy radiance. It just looks like my skin is hydrated. This is such a great product if I don't want to wear a lot of makeup, but I do want to look a little bit more alive. This is fantastic for that, and I really, really enjoyed this product. Coming at number 3 are the Charlotte Tilbury Beautifying Eye Trends palettes. So sometimes when I have multiple palettes from a collection, I will separate them out, but honestly, I love all 3 of these. So I do have a full dedicated review on these, and these caused quite a stir because of the packaging. Everyone felt like the packaging looked very cheap and inexpensive, and you're not wrong. The reason she did create these clear lids was because she was creating these with makeup artists in mind who do not have the time to open every single palette to see what's inside, which I totally get and I completely respect. But the formulas in here are gorgeous. The mattes are so incredibly creamy and blendable. The metallics, they're also very creamy and beautiful. But the Diamond Dimension shades, like this one right here, are some of the most sparkly, most reflective shades I have in my collection. These remind me of the Natasha Denona Sparkling Foiled eyeshadows that she came out with originally, and I feel like that sparkling foiled formula has sort of fallen off and it's more of just a sparkly shadow. You don't really get a lot of that foil. With these, you do get that foil, and they are so shimmery and reflective, and they're just so beautiful. I absolutely love the Diamond Dimension shades. In the warmer palette, I have used this one a ton. You can see I've really sort of dug into that one because I really like it. I didn't necessarily love this shade as much as I thought I would, but these palettes are so fun to play with, and even the green one. Sometimes when I see green palettes that also have brown in them, I'm initially a little bit worried because I'm worried they're going to be muddy. But this is not. There's just something about this, and even the browns, the shade in particular up here has a bit more of an olivey undertone to it, so it plays incredibly well with these greens. And all of these palettes are so beautiful and easy to work with. The super neutrals kind of had me worried initially because one of the mattes almost seemed a little bit patchy, but I honestly think it's me. At first I heard others were complaining about it as well, so I thought, there's no way it's me, but then some days it blends perfectly, so I think it has to be me. I don't know. Either way, I absolutely love these palettes. I love these shadows. I love reaching for these. They're so much fun. This is probably one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas I've ever seen from Charlotte Tilbury, so I love these. Coming in at number 2 is probably my new absolute favorite lip gloss formula. This is from Makeup Forever. This is their Super Boost Moisturizing Plumping Effect Lip Gloss. The way that I love this, first of all, this is in the shade Wherever Walnut. This is a really gorgeous sort of mauve-y brown lip color. It's gorgeous though. The applicator on this is pretty unique, but on the lips, first of all, this is a plumping gloss, but it has the most subtle plumping effect. I would say you feel it a little bit more than the Lawless, but not nearly as intense as a Charlotte Tilbury, a Too Faced, a Fenty, nothing like that. It's not really an intense tingle at all, and it's just sort of cooling, and it's only for the first couple of minutes. This is a thicker gloss as well, so if you do get it in your mouth, the taste is a little confusing and off-putting, but if you just do that old sort of lipstick trick where you just sort of put your finger in your mouth to get the excess off the inner rim of your lips, that will cut that down, and that will also eliminate the stringiness that you can sometimes get with a thicker gloss like this. This is sticky, but it's not sticky like a MAC lip gloss. It is slightly sticky. It's just enough to make it wear a really long time. And I just love that this is a very pigmented, very thick gloss. It looks so beautiful on the lips. It makes the lips look so much more full and juicy and of course wet. It's just the most gorgeous gloss, and it is so long wearing, which I think is why I love it so much, because when I first got this in the mail, I put it on immediately, and it was right before I was about to eat lunch. So I really shouldn't have, because now I'm just going to ingest it, but I did put this on. I ate lunch, and then I noticed afterward I still had this on. I've never had a lip gloss last through lunch before, so I've just absolutely been loving this formula so much, and I would definitely purchase more shades of this. So I love this gloss. But coming in at number 1 is a foundation that I have loved on so hard this month. This is the Givenchy Prism Libre Glow Serum Foundation. I had the shade 0.5C. This is such a good foundation. This is the one I'm wearing today. This is the one I've pretty much been wearing for the ever since I got this, last couple weeks. The packaging is very heavy. This is a very expensive foundation. This does give a really beautiful solid medium coverage. It does have a glow to it, but it's more like a soft radiance that just makes it look like your skin is very healthy and hydrated. It's not too much. It doesn't feel like anything on the skin. It doesn't feel like you're wearing anything. It does have a slight tack to it for the first little bit that you put it on, so you might want to powder your face. I don't know that someone with an oily skin type would love this, but I think if you have dry skin, I think this could be such a staple. I know I've definitely been leaning harder into these more matte foundations recently and kind of getting away from these super glowy foundations. And while this is technically a glowier foundation, it's not glowy as in a glow from space kind of foundation, kind of like the Say bouncy foundation that is really nice but super glowy. This is just going to give you that healthy hydrated glow to your skin that I think is so flattering and beautiful. So I absolutely love this. This also wears all day long without any problems. Even when I bump my face, I don't find it's transferring, and even though it does have that tackiness when you first put it on, it does kind of set down, and it just keeps your skin looking so beautiful and plump and juicy and hydrated throughout the day, and also just makes it look very flawless. I love this foundation so much. I know I need to compare it to my NARS foundation. I'm still working on comparing it to the new Dior foundation that I love as well, and I will be doing that very soon, but just know that I absolutely 100% love this foundation. But that is it. Those are the 15 products that I tried out in the month of February. That was a lot of makeup, but I feel like it was a pretty good month. We had some big misses, but we had some really, really good hits, and I did try a lot of products within the last week that did not make it into this video because I just haven't had enough time with them. So you'll see them at the end of March, but let me know all of your thoughts down below. Did you try any of these? Did you love any of them? Did you not like some of them? Are there any products that you're kind of surprised where they placed in my ranking? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. I just love hearing from you guys so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!